What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Can't sit here.
Savage.
And we're back with One Piece 1057. And might I just say, after 100 long chapters, we are finally at the close of Act 3. And moreover than that, after 4 long years, we are finally here, the end of Wano. And I have to say, before we get into any of the specifics of the chapter at all, thank you. Seriously. Like, I've been in this community a long time, and reading Wano with each and every one of you, in the streams, in the comments, on the Discord, has been my favorite part of being a part of this fandom, bar none. Wano is not my favorite arc. It's not. But the experience of reading it with each and every one of you, I don't know. I don't really have words, so I'm just saying thank you, guys. Like, you are all awesome, and I am so excited to go into the next arc with all of you and whoever else we pick up along the way. Like, we are going to get into some really great stuff. Now, I'm going to start with the positives of this chapter, but I will say that this review is going to get a little more critical than most of my reviews get. And this is a controversial chapter for a lot of reasons. And I do want to address some of those controversies. And some of it is really comes down to just writing. And as much as I love Oda, he is my favorite author of all time. One of my greatest inspirations to be a writer. And while I also feel like he is the most consistent writer of all time, this chapter wasn't it. This was not it. There's elements that I like, but overall, this was not the way to end this arc, in my opinion. Okay? And that's for whatever that's worth. It's my opinion. Okay? Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the positives. The chapter is structurally sound. From a narrative standpoint, I understand that Oda probably had it set up from the beginning that he was going to end it this way. Every act began and ended with Hiyori in some fashion playing us off and then opening the curtain again. So it makes sense that that's how we, go through this. Now, everything, all of what we've gone through, it's here. There's a play of it. It's like Thor Ragnarok. They were just glorifying the, everything that the Straw Hats have done. Other positives in the chapter are our boy is flexing that Yonko status. Big time. Pulled up on Momonosuke with that flag and said, boom, fly it. You're gonna scare people away. This is one of Luffy's best moments, but I just wish Oda had the time to put it in this big double page spread that just felt as iconic as the VV Goodbye or, I Want to Live, and just some of those really great moments. Oda was trying to cram a lot into this. And, there's a good side and a bad side to what I'm going to talk about next, which is there's a huge positive to Yamato not joining the crew. I've never really been gung-ho about Yamato joining, and I've been pretty vocal, by even when I'm in collabs, talking about different reasons why Yamato probably shouldn't join. I mean, everything in the story was telling us that Yamato would.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Right? And the character was literally telling us that they would.
You lying? Why you always lying?
But I am most excited about leaving Wano, moving on, and basically starting the series where we should have picked up at the end of Fishman Island. Like, it's almost like I can erase all of the New World and then just imagine Jinbei went with them in Fishman Island, and then here we go. Because we're not taking any baggage with us. That is, unless this person's hiding in a box or a crate or in a bag somewhere on the Sunny, which
God!
stocks are pretty high.
No, God!
It's pretty possible.
No!
Carrot might be joining.
No!
They didn't say bye to Carrot. They spent 2 arcs with Carrot, and we did not see them say goodbye to Carrot. But the thing that this is best for, right, is actually my biggest agenda. Not Laws and Sword, not any other theory that I have. Vivi comes back to the crew, okay? Forget Yamato, forget the Scabbards, forget everything in Wano. We're getting back to the core of things. Buggy's back in the story, Crocodile's back into the story, Mihawk's back in the story, and Vivi will be returning to the crew. Member 5.5 is coming back. And Vivi will be the 11th Straw Hat because 5.5 times 2 is 11. Quick maths.
Man knows algebra.
But one of the worst things that I've ever seen Oda do, and, you know, I'm just going to come out and say it, is just putting Yamato's decision into a small corner panel on page 2. I'm staying. You're staying. Okay. Well, I mean, we know that you want to stay by Momonosuke's side. That's all you did the entire arc. But this decision that you came upon, when did this happen? Because at the end of, 1056, Yamato fans were jumping and screaming that they finally were getting their, crewmate officially. And then Oda baited you guys and pulled the rug out from under you. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna cry.
I feel bad for you, Yamato fans.
You lying? Why you always lying?
This is some, Rian Johnson writing. The Last Jedi. Everything was nope, the princess is in another castle type situation. We end The Force Awakens, which I don't really like the Star Wars sequels, so I'm sorry that I'm doing this analogy, but Rey comes up the hill, has the lightsaber in her hand, hands it to Luke. We end the movie, we come back, people think that it's going to be, all the theories, blah, 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 everything that's going to happen between this. Luke Skywalker takes the lightsaber in the next movie and just tosses it over his shoulder. And it's like, ha 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 ha, subversion. Yeah, you thought something else was going to happen. Yeah, we did. We also thought the casino part of that movie was going to amount to something as well. And now I'm sitting here literally asking, was Yamato even needed in this arc? And that's no offense to Yamato fans, but I mean, literally.
It's about to get spicy.
Narratively speaking, I feel like I could pull Yamato out of this arc, and it's the same arc. If that's a spicy take, I feel like I might need to do a video on that, where we just redo Wano without Yamato and see if anything really changes, okay? The biggest contribution that Yamato made was hold Kaido at bay on the roof while other plot points happened. Yamato was a plot device.
I hope they remember you.
Because if they weren't going to join the crew, what is the point of the character? This is the question that I really need to sit and think about, and it's also the question that I want to hear you guys sound off on in the comments. And again, this is not about whether you like the character or not, if the character was cool. Yamato was cool. Their fruit is cool. Different things that they said and did were cool. Did we need them in this story? Taking panel time away from other characters that could have used more emphasis, or just get us more screen time for things that Oda kind of skipped. Like if we didn't have any of Yamato, maybe Oda would have had time for the Nidai Kitetsu, for visiting Ryuma's grave, which was the stipulation for giving Shusui up, by the way, and we just never saw that. God, there's just so many things that just never came to be in Wano that are so Wano specific. There are other things in other arcs that are like, elements of Thriller Bark that, made sense now that we were in Wano and recontextualized Thriller Bark in like really amazing ways. And I expect things like that to happen later on with Fishman Island as well. But there are so many Wano specific things that can only happen on Wano that we're just not seeing, we're not getting. And now that Wano is officially over, we can actually judge it as a complete arc. Now, granted, there are elements of Wano that still in the future will come back around, and we'll be able to look at Wano and say, wow, this part is even more awesome now because of what happened in the God Valley flashback, right? We come back and, we see different things that Rock says to Kaido or that Kaido says to something else. And then we go back to this one line that Kaido says here, oh, you couldn't be Joy Boy either. Like, we'll feel the weight of that line 10 times more when we understand the story behind it. Like, that's the stuff that we'll get later on. But there's no need for a Yamato flashback to flesh out, why she's the Oni princess, who was Yamato's mother. Like, none of this even matters now, because Yamato is like just a non-starter character. They're an honorary Straw Hat, much like Momonosuke and Kinemon and even Tama now, which I do like that. I love that part of it, and we'll see them again in the final war. I imagine that Momonosuke will have, trained, and, he might even be nice with it by the time he comes over to, the final war and everything. We'll see him like, using swords, switching in and out of dragon form, something like that. Like, I would love that personally. Like, if we do get to see like a cool Momonosuke, because we didn't see cool Momonosuke in this chapter either. This arc was about identity. That was like the big theme of it. And it goes to just about every character. Like, literally, you point at somebody at Wano, they were having some sort of an identity crisis. Just to rattle a few quick ones off, we've got the Straw Hats all creating new identities. We have Hiyori and Komurasaki, Denjiro and Kyoshiro, who is also Ushimitsu Kozo, right? Ashura Doji, Shuten Maru, Kanjiro was the spy. Big Mom literally lost their identity for a little bit of the arc. Killer, Kamazo, Drake was a secret marine, Who's Who, literally his name, wearing a mask. Sanji was also going through an identity crisis of himself between, just the Vinsmoke family. We had Yamato, like, with this whole Odin thing, but more than anything, we had Momonosuke, who is the heart of this arc, the heart of this saga, all right? Luffy's little brother, which is a callback to the Whitebeard and Odin moment where Odin, was the only person who wasn't Whitebeard's son, but was actually his brother, right? Momonosuke was living in the shadow of his father. He was also living in the shadow of Kaido. And that's this duality that was really being explored across, not only this arc, but when you go back to different panels in Dressrosa and Punk Hazard, you could see that Oda had these machinations all planned out, right? And across the past 10 years of real life in this story, Luffy was imparting all of the knowledge that he had gotten over the course of the entire, time that he's been a pirate, from either Shanks or Vivi or who, just his experiences in general. He was giving that to Momonosuke, right? Just serving up all of the game on a platter. And we slowly, throughout Wano, got to see Momonosuke sort of like starting to puff his chest out a little bit, even if he was faking it to make it, like Kinemon was trying to tell him, right? But we get that Green Bull situation. Momonosuke, like, basically, like, puts this really strong front on and starts to make an admiral sweat. Shows up, comes back to Luffy, right? And then just falls apart and becomes the 8-year-old that he is, right? Now he's got this facade on where he looks 28, but inside he's 8 years old, and like the Straw Hat crew and the retainers are basically the only people that Momo can be his true self with, right? But at the same time, while there is thematic reasoning for that, I wish Momonosuke would have just not been as much of a baby in that scene. You know, like a couple of tears, yeah, but show me that you're not just crybaby Momo. And I think a better ending, personally, for the arc would have been to see the flag waving. Like, not Momo saying, hey, where should we put it? Like, let's end Wano on that bang. Let's show the flag flying, right? Like, imagine that as the last panel of the arc, right? Because we started the arc on the flower capital, right? This majestic panel that Oda has said is like his favorite panel that he's ever drawn, right? Let's recreate that. But then at the top of the castle is the Straw Hat flag waving. Like, I don't know. We'll get it. I'm sure we'll get it. I can't wait to see it, but I just feel like that would have been a great ending. And really quickly, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, the Viz, as we expected and talked about in the stream, did clear up the Hiyori Kurazumi controversial line by making it more singular rather than plural. But the fact still remains that a genocide still occurred during Kozuki rule against people because of their name. And it wasn't stopped or admonished by Sukiyaki or his father, leading to the downfall of the Kozuki and Wano itself. And Oden had the power to stop it as well and chose not to. So either way, for an arc centered around the idea of opening borders, leaving Wano without acknowledging that not all Kurazumi are bad just seems like a poetic misstep. Where do we go from here? Okay, I'm expecting 2 chapters of Decks of the World, you know, bounties, seeing everything that's going on, maybe a scene with the Cross Guild, finding out, you know, about Hancock's potential capture, just what's going on with everything. Maybe seeing Vivi in the next 2 chapters. That would be amazing. By the time we get to 1060, we catch back up with the Straw Hats and they're sailing on their way to probably Sphinx Island so that we can go to Ace's grave, make a declaration, and probably handle this whole Weevil situation, find out what happened in the payback war from Marco while we actually have some time to sit and talk, and, you know, kind of lore dump a little bit. Luffy learns about what's happened at the Reverie, what else has been going on, and then we move on to whatever the next situation is. And we still have to make time for Elbaf too. But right now, what I'd like is Luffy and gang go to Sphinx Island, Kid goes to Elbaf, Law goes to some other island, hopefully where Buggy is, and Law and Buggy have some sort of a fight because I've wanted Law versus Buggy ever since I saw Law's powers, and I want Law's powers to not work on Buggy at all, and Law to basically be like, wow, now I understand why you're an emperor. I want Kid to, like, wreck a bunch of shit over at Elbaf, and then hopefully he is the actual antagonist of Elbaf, because Luffy will get there and he'll be upset that, like, Dory and Bragi are hurt, or Oimo and Kashi, or something, I don't know, and then it's just, hey, Jaggy, like, yeah, we fought against Kaido, but, like, I like these guys, so you're going down. Because I just don't understand where Kid falls going forward here. You know, I mean, it's like Oda's really setting up, you know, these 3 pirates going off on their own path, and then, you know, that they're supposed to converge at some point later on. But it's like, what is the point of all of that? It really seems like Oda is setting up, like, the final saga, the final arc to be this, like, rat race to Laugh Tale, where we'll be at Laugh Tale with Buggy, with Shanks, with Blackbeard, with Crocodile, you know, with Law, with Kid, I guess. Like, I don't know. I just know Vivi's coming back. I am super excited for 1058 because one thing is for sure, it is not going to be 1057. We're done. We're out of Wano. We're moving on. Shout out to all of the Savage crew. Thank you guys for being here with me through this Wano journey. like I said a little bit earlier, it has been my favorite part of everything with Wano, just being with you guys. Shout out to Joe Malomo for rejoining, my guy Fable. We got Tofu Taster joined, Swish joined, Shinho Wong and Maximilian Hofer rejoined, Emmanuel Blue rejoined, Seastone Live, JP Legend, Violetti and Sunil Mister joined, Animanda Suki no Usagi joined, DJ Red Comet 369 rejoined, Hokage Ezio joined, and my guy Ryo rejoined. Appreciate all of you. But that's going to wrap things up, guys. I know we got a little bit spicy today. But shout out to Oda for, still being the most consistent writer of all time. All right? Even when Jordan, missed some shots, there were still people yelling at the TV in, 95, 96. So he's still my GOAT. I love the man. But at the same time, we've all seen him do better. So, and I really do think this Yamato thing being in the corner panel is one of the most egregious things he's ever done. And again, I'm sorry, Yamato fans. But we should have seen that. Show, don't tell. It is drilled into you when you're a writer, especially a screenwriter. And Oda's been doing a lot of telling lately. So hopefully now that we're done with Wano, we will get back into, peak Oda. All right, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Thanks everybody. Like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Later.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.